Today I will explain how grid expert advisors work, why are they so popular even though they are so risky. If you have experience with grid expert advisors from the MQL5 marketplace, you know that the grid EAs show almost perfect backtests, but in reality most will fail and blow the account at some point. I've tested many of them, blown several of my live accounts and experimented with different settings for many different grid EAs until I found the happy medium where I could make some money without risking a lot. And I will also show you a grid expert advisor that I started trading in a $500 account. So on the MQL5 marketplace there are so many expert advisors, but if you check the grid ones you will see that many of them are grid expert advisors. We have 13 pages of different trading robots. If I click on Martingale, you will see that we have 19 pages of expert advisors. And if I click on any of those randomly, usually you will see some screenshots from the backtest or how the expert advisor work. And with this illustration over here, we can see perfectly how expert advisors work. If there is a signal to sell, but the price goes upwards, it will add to the position or it will sell again. If the price continues even higher, it will add to the position until the moment it recovers the losses. And this is what you can see here. There is an entry, the price goes up, another entry, the price goes up, another entry, and all of those closed at that point. If I click on another expert advisor, let's say this one, which is the Waka Waka, an expert advisor I've been trading for quite a while, you will see such a backtest that is really unbelievable. And another one where we see great returns. And this is where beginners usually jump with all of their money because they want the same profits as the vendors show on the backtest and on their live performance, which is real for the Waka Waka. But if you want to stay longer on the market, you need to understand how the grid expert advisors work and how to trade them properly according to your capital. And I'm using Waka Waka and I'm trading it with very low risk settings. And if I show it to you on my MetaTrader, you will see that I am trading it on $3,000 account, and so far I have nearly $300, which is nearly 10%, and that's not a bad result. But I know that for Waka Waka I need at least $3,000 as capital in my account. However, by the end of the video I will show you a grid expert advisor that you can trade with $500 only. And if you look at the Waka Waka for a second, you will see the very same thing that we saw on that image. So here is a short trade, another one was added and the trade was closed in here. Here is a long trade, another long trade, third long trade, and all of those closed here on a profit. And you can see that with these low risk settings I am trading with 0.04, sometimes the lots increase to 0.08 or 0.16, but there is no bigger lot in the account. I think just one time it increased, 0.32 in here, and that's it. So when the lots increase, we call it a martingale. And basically there are two types of expert advisors or trading robots that you can trade. One, the grid martingale EAs, and the other one, the EAs that do not use grid martingale recovery option. And there is a simple rule here. If your expert advisor has a good strategy behind, it doesn't need grid to recover the losing trades. And if your expert advisor or strategy is weak, it needs a grid martingale to recover these losses. Or in other words, the stronger the strategy is, the less it needs grid. Or the weaker the strategy is, the more it needs grid. Alright, so let me bring this VPS on my recording screen. And in here you will see the top 5 expert advisors for the gold from the top 10 robots app. Or actually in this account I'm trading the top 5 gold, robots that are always on the top of the app, looking at the last 1 year performance. And you can see here that in the account history there is no any grid. There is an entry, stop loss, take profit, and exit. Pretty much the trades will open, they will have their stop loss, their take profit, and they will exit, or they will exit if there is an exit indicator to close the positions. And this account has been profitable. You can see that I started with $1,000 in this account back in mid-October, and I have profit of $400, so this is 40%. And that's not bad, but when you trade with such expert advisors, you accept the fact that there will be drawdowns in your equity, because simply the equity sticks very closely to your balance line, right? Whenever the trades open, they close on the take profit or the stop loss or the exit condition. And in one moment I achieved 60% in this account, then it dropped, and now it is recovering. Or basically we don't see this perfect balance line that we see with the grid expert advisors. But now let me show you a very aggressive grid Martingale expert advisor with this perfect balance line, and you will see what happened. I'll bring on my recording screen this chart, which is really amazing. It was the Grid Machine, a free expert advisor from the MQL5 marketplace that I had on a $100,000 account, and you can see what a balance chart, right? It's a dream come true, isn't it? It just goes up and up. It doubled the account. At one point it nearly tripled the account. But if I switch now to the equity, you will see this thing over here, a massive drop. It basically dropped to the starting balance, and that's where obviously I stopped trading this account. But it was a funded account and I had the chance to withdraw some profits, so I didn't lose anything. But you see the difference when you trade grid expert advisors, that at one point the price will just keep going against you. And in this case, if I show you those orders, you will see that it kept buying euro dollar. It started with 0.3 and increased it all the way down to 4.6, which is a huge amount. All in total I had 35.3 lots opened, so I had to close the account. And the origin of the Martingale systems comes obviously from the casinos. And I have an image here that illustrates it perfectly. Once you place your bet, or in our case it is a trading order, and you lose it, you will need to double it next time. So then if you win, you will revert to your original stake, or you will recover your initial capital that you risked. And of course there are different options. The reverse Martingale strategy says that there are two options of the initial bet. If you lose, you can bet the same, and then if you lose, you bet again the initial deposit. But if you win, you will double your previous bet. However, if you win from the first shot, then you double your previous bet. And then if you win again, you double your previous bet. And if you lose, you bet the initial bet. Or this is called the reverse Martingale strategy. And many EA vendors and developers use this approach in the expert advisors, and usually it is to increase the lots if the price goes against us. But this is a great example of how risky a grid Martingale system is, and especially if you keep increasing the lots. And keep in mind all of that if you decide to trade grid expert advisors on challenges, because there is the 5% daily drawdown with most of them, and the grid expert advisors tend to have huge drawdowns, so it is very likely that you will lose the challenge. The other option is to use instant funding platforms, but usually there is 10% overall drawdown, or live accounts like the ones I am using, and the account that I started with $500 and I'm about to show you a bit later. I used Black Bull with the ECN standard account because they have very good trading conditions positions, especially for the forex pairs. I use the institutional account for the bigger accounts, and for all of my subscribers I arranged an institutional account for only 2,000. If you decide to trade with such an amount, check out the link down below in the description. As well, they offer trading VC Trader, but I use MetaTrader 4 and 5 the most. And very importantly, when you trade with expert advisors, you need a broker with fast execution speed. Alright, so the expert advisor I started on a small $500 account with Black Bull is called Infinity Trader EA, that I have reviewed previously on my channel, but now I have found the right settings for a small account and I'm trading it only on pound dollar. And if I show you the inputs, you will see that I'm using fixed lot of 0.01 or auto money management of 0.1, and the multiplier is 0, which means that every next order will be with the same lot of 0.01. It's not gonna increase the lots. I also will avoid trading if the spread is huge, but let me show it to you right in here. The smart profit is false, which means that the robot will close on overall profit, or that would be profit pips of 9. Then a little bit lower you can see that the max add trades is 3, and here it is. It opened one long trade and then it added only 3 times to that position. If I show you the account history, you will see them right in here. So there was one long trade and only 3 times the expert advisor added to the position. All of those were closed at one point right in here, and it brought some small profits in the account. Then there was another long trade, but this one closed on a profit from the first time. It didn't need to add to the position, but this limitation here is very important, guys. Only 3 times it will add to the position. 1 time, 2nd time, 3rd time, because we don't know how far the price of pound dollar will drop, and if it keeps adding to the position, obviously I will run out of margin in a small $500 account. But let me show you the back test so you will see how it goes. I will click on test, and with the current inputs that I have, I will back test it for the entire history. It is pound dollar for the M15. I will click on start, and here is the graph. Again, you will see a very steady graph going upwards, but the idea here is to have small drawdowns. So all of these are drawdowns, and usually with grid systems you will see bigger drawdowns, especially if we use Martingale, they will be even bigger, but the risk to blow the account is there. And when you limit the grid, when you limit the settings, you achieve more stable results. So we can see that at one point the account doubled, so right in here it doubled, and the backtest should finish very soon. There is a bigger drawdown in here, but it didn't blow the account, and let's see what will be the final outcome. And if you are optimizing expert advisors with MetaTrader, be careful not to over optimize it, and at the same time to find these safe settings, so you will see that the expert advisor is profitable for many years and it doesn't blow the account. However, there is never guarantee that it will not blow the account in the future, but at least if you know that it has been profitable since 2020 in this case until the moment, and I'm recording this video in December 2024. Here is the final backtest. You will see that it went from 500 all the way up to $2,000. And for those of you who stay with me until the end of the video, I can share a very good strategy over here, and it's simple. Once you double your small account with a grid expert advisor, just withdraw the profit so you're break even, you won't be losing anything. If you start with 500 and you make it 1000, just withdraw this 500, so even if you blow the account from there, you are not losing a single dollar. And if you want to see other expert advisors suitable for $500 account, check out this video on my site. Until then, I love you guys, and I'll see you in the next video. Cheers!